parents. It is Camille Ellis once again. Welcome to my channel. Please like and subscribe. We're talking about all things pre-K. And today we are going to be talking about using teachable moments in parenting and teaching. So, a teachable moment is that moment where the mess meets the message. I'll give you an example from my classroom. One morning the kids were happily sitting at the table. They were eating their breakfast. It was a typical morning in pre-K. Everything was wonderful and calm, and the kids were happily talking and everything was cool. And then one of the girls at the table, she reached across to get a fruit from the middle of the table. Lo and behold, her elbow knocked over her milk carton, and in an instant, there was milk everywhere. And of course, it was like maybe the first 2 or 3 days. It was within the first 2 weeks of school. And so all of the kids that were sitting at the table, they turned and they looked at me with horror. They were like, and I looked at them and I said, it's okay. I said, it's okay. Oopsie, we made a mess. Let's clean it up. I said, because in that moment, what do you do with a mess? You clean it up. Okay? There's no need for me to get upset. She did not do it on purpose. And even if she did, there's a teachable moment somewhere in there. And so in that moment where everyone, like the air was literally being sucked out of the room when those kids looked at me, they were probably waiting for me to like start screaming. They were probably waiting for me to get upset. Why? Because they've been trained that most adults get upset when there's a spill, when there's a mess, when something is out of place, right? And so they have this fear of when they can't make a mistake, they can't, do something, nothing can go wrong. And so I said, it's okay. We have a spill. And let's clean it up. I got some paper towels. I gave them to her. She started wiping up the table. I got down. I started wiping up. And we did teamwork together. And we started cleaning up. And guess what? Some of the friends at the table, they decided to get some paper towels and jump in to help us start cleaning up as well. So what did that teach me? What that taught me was that sometimes we need to let go of this iron grip that we have on control, and we need to allow the everyday messes of life become a message that will be even more powerful and impactful in our children's lives, right? So in that moment, I believe that the children learned something. They learned that it's okay to make a mess, and messes do happen. Like life gets messy. Life gets messy. You know it and I know it. Kids are young. They may not know it in that instant, but they begin to learn that life gets messy. And what do you do when life gets messy? You clean it up. You do what you can to make that situation better. And so we had paper towels, we had each other, we did teamwork, we jumped in, and before you know it, the mess was all cleaned up and we moved on with our day. It was no big deal. Nobody was hurt. The furniture wasn't ruined, and like it wasn't life or death. So I'm saying all of that to say that in our parenting and in our teaching and in our interactions with our younger children, it's very important for them to understand that, there is a message beyond just the mess, and so for us as adults, it does take a reprogramming of our mind, because sometimes we tend to be a little bit overprotective, and we hover over our children because we don't want them to make a mess. We don't want them to get hurt. We don't want them to, and so we're kind of like wearing ourselves out here trying to protect our stuff, or trying to protect the kid, or trying to, make sure that everything goes perfectly. But life is not perfect, and things will go wrong, and things will get messed up, and kids will make mistakes, and we will make mistakes, and kids will mess up, and we will mess up. But, we just have to take a deep breath and understand that, look, this is life, and it's okay. We're gonna do what we can to move past this, and to learn from it. And so, that's what I call a teachable moment. The moment that where the mess meets the message is the teachable moment in it, right? And so, um, we need to get out of our own way, of we need to get out of our own way so that we can see the messages in the messes that our kids sometimes, especially our younger children, for our young kids, cause, right? So, um, you know, so, for example, I've heard stories about like kids writing on the walls, and kids, tracking mud through the house and things like that. And I feel like, I, children, like I mentioned before in one of my previous videos, children are voracious learners. Everything that they do, they are doing to explore. They are doing to learn more about that thing, right? Whether they're exploring or discovering something, or so, even if, right, even if that child took up that milk carton and poured it on the table, that's not something that we do, right? But in my mind, I would want to think, sh- I would want to wonder, I wonder if she wanted to see what the milk was going to do, right? And try to figure out, and then there are younger children, like age 2, like a 2-year-old would probably do that, like pick up a cup of milk and pour it out, and be fascinated to see how the liquid is coming out of the cup, and how it spreads across the table, and now it's not contained anymore. That in and of itself is a learning experience, because it was in this cup before and it was contained, and when I tilted the cup this way, it came out, and now it doesn't have a shape anymore. That's science. Like, the kid is learning. So I know that's a little bit of a stretch, but I'm just saying, like, for a 2-year-old child, a 4-year-old probably wouldn't go that far to do it unless they were really wanted to be mischievous. But like a 2-year-old, and maybe even a 1-year-old, that is more like an exploratory type of thing. And so what you could do as a parent is to begin to create more, explorations like that. Say, okay, the child is interested in, liquid, and so what you could probably do is, during bath time would be a good time to explore what liquids do, and begin to explain to them. I digress. So, getting back to getting back to what I was originally supposed to be talking about. Sorry about that, right? Um, Within that mess, right? The message would be, okay, let's get this cleaned up, and rather than writing on the wall, hmm, what what are we supposed to write on, or what could we write on? Would you like to write on, or draw on a paper, or would you like to go outside and write or draw in the dirt? You can offer some, choices, right? So now it could be a beautiful picture that your kid drew on the wall, and it's beautiful, and maybe they got so carried away with whatever it is that they were doing, that you know but they have to understand, A, we don't draw on the wall, right? And B, now we have to do something about this. So what are we going to do? You, first of all, as a parent, as the adult, you have to take a deep breath, because you may be upset. Like, you come and you stepped away for a couple minutes, or, I don't know where, if whatever, right? But here it is, you have this wall, and it's all marked up. So you take a deep breath and you calm yourself. Always try to center yourself back to calm. Because when you deal with a child in an upset, angry way, that's neither here nor there. That doesn't help you, and it certainly doesn't help them. Okay? So it's important for you to know, that, okay, this child, it needs my help. Okay, so you give them choices. Okay, did you want to did you want to draw on the paper, or did you want to do something else? Let me know what you would like to do, right? And so whatever it is that they decide that they want to do, you help them to get there. Okay, so 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 for example, you can get out some paper, you can get out and you show them, okay, here's a nice size of paper that you can draw on or that you can write on. um, what would you like to do, you know? um, and then you explain to them, this drawing that you did here on the wall is very beautiful. However, because it's not done on paper, we can't keep it. So we're going to have to clean up the wall. Okay, now would you like to clean up the wall? We can do teamwork. I can help you. We can do teamwork to clean up the wall. Would you like to do that before you draw your new picture or after? And you let them choose. And they say, well, I want to draw a new picture first, and then, okay, no problem. So they can go ahead and they draw their new picture on the paper and everything else. And then when it's time to clean up, say, okay, it's time to clean up, or you have your timer, you set your timer, time to clean up, right? And then you do teamwork and you clean up and say, okay, now we have to get this wall clean, right? Get the wall clean, you get your bucket, you get your, and so together you guys can do teamwork together to scrub down the wall and to clean it up. So right there, the child learned a few things. A, we don't write on the wall, we write on paper. You didn't get upset and throw away the whole lesson. When you get upset, you tend to, the child does not see the lesson, they see your upsetness. And so you really want to bring that in, right? And so the child is less likely to repeat that behavior because you were calm, you gave them other options and choices, and there was a consequence, and there was an outcome where they had to, you know, they had to erase their beautiful drawing that they did that they might have wanted to keep, but they couldn't, right? And so you'll ask them, you'll ask them if they want you to help them or if they want to do it by themselves, and so you have a dialogue going with them about it. Okay, and so once it's done, the wall is cleaned up, they have a new drawing that they did on paper, and they have learned their lesson. The teachable moment has been solidified. So I hope you found these tips helpful. I know I was a little bit all over the place, and you know, subscribe and like anyway, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.